Son, where'd you find this?
So you know somebody doesn't respect you. They listen to reply, not to be understood. They cut you off. They minimize what actually matters to you. They laugh at your boundaries, and then they call you sensitive when you try to hold the line. They show up late, they cancel last minute, forget the things you've told them, because in their world, your time, your energy, even your voice aren't a priority. They're just an option. You see, there are two kinds of people. Those who adjust when they realize they've actually hurt you, and those who expect you to adjust so they don't have to change. You don't need to be disrespected loudly to be disrespected deeply. Sometimes you'll see it. It's just in their tone, in their patterns, in the silence after you're known. Respect isn't what they say when they're watching. It's how they act when they think you'll tolerate it.
The flow insane, take my spot, so the range. Shoot my shot with perfect aim. 3rd degree, that perfect flame. Ain't no sleep, that's the game. Oh, so southern, that's the slang. When they see me, that's the main. Chasing checks and fly like planes. Big old stick, I bought a cane. Flick my wrist and bought the ring. I'm so boss, we're not the same. Paid the cost and kept the change. Now I'm walking Hall of Fame. And I reside in the cloud. Grand wishes with these bitches. Taking pictures with the crowd, and I'm out.
What up, what up, what up, what up? Happy Friday. Peace, blessings, word, grace, and honor to the most. I hope all is well with each and every single one of you. Thank you for being in attendance. Sorry, I've been a little all over the place today. The weather and I don't get along during the warmer seasons, so apologies. Shout outs to my poets, writers, content creators, all of the in-betweens. You know I'm going to give you your flowers, of course. Wherever you watch from, I thank you for being in attendance. You see the title. It's not really something that I do very often over here, but that's why I'm doing it today. Sydney, I'm going to bring you up on the big screen so we can go ahead and get this show started. Do me a solid, folks. Like, share, repost. Let the people know that we are on. Sid, what up? If you can hear me, I hope all is well. Good evening to you. Salute, 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 salutes.
Hello. Let me try and switch to my laptop because my phone is super quiet right now for some reason. Where's my laptop?
No problem. Handle your business.
Desk. One sec.
Shub, I see you over there. Been a while. I hope all is well with you. Lynn, good evening. I got two clips. It's multiple. It's more than I could actually put up here. I think one of my concerns was with some of the clips that I've seen. I was concerned about how it would come across if I played those. I did manage to find at least one or two that seemed like they might be cool to put up here. So the first clip is speaking about Cuba. The second one is going to be a little bit about what's happening in Gaza. Then we just kind of go from there in the meantime. Let me bring this up on the big screen. I'm going to let this play out while she's getting everything set up on her end, and we'll just go from there. This is like a 1-minute 27-second video.
So we're in a neighborhood of Havana where residents say they've just had their fill of the power cuts. They're lit trash on fire. There are dozens of people around us in the darkness banging in pots and pans. They said it was for the entire day. Without power, you can't cook, you can't work, you really can't go anywhere because of the gas crisis. Of course, this is a crisis the government blames on the United States. The energy blockade, the fact that almost no oil is coming to this island. This island has now run out of oil, according to its own officials. But people here a lot of times blame their own government because they say certain areas have power, other areas, poor neighborhoods like this one, do not have power. And that's why people are so indignant, because they simply say you cannot live this way a whole day, sometimes several days without power. And so that's why you hear the banging of the pots and pans. People say they have nothing left to lose if the government comes here, if they arrest people. At this point, it would be better, they say, than to continue to live in these circumstances.
Los niños están sin comer, sin ir a la escuela, estamos desesperados. Las mujeres estamos ya hemos bajado 20 libras y los nervios muy mal, porque no tenemos cómo sustentar a los niños.
The tensions are running high. The U.S. is negotiating with Cuba, trying to find a compromise of some sort, but one that would require major concessions on the part of this government. But what people are saying here is that they simply cannot go on living like this. So we're in a neighborhood.
That's the first clip. I'll save the second one in a little bit. Sid, did you get a chance to get squared away? All right, I see you. You good? Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can't hear anything yet. Oh, duh. That's why. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Good.
Cool. It was connected to my Bluetooth. Well, first, happy Friday. And I got to see the video. So, yeah. Did you want to give your thoughts first?
The only thing that I want to say right now is my thoughts and prayers go out to everybody out there. Look, the reason why we having this conversation is because I think we forget that there's another part of the world that's going through way worse than we are. And we tend to complain a lot about our life. And I get it, the stresses of paying bills and, oh, you don't like the orange man. And you just have all of these different attitudes towards certain conditions that you're in. But when you really sit back and get out of yourself, there are people that are actually going through way worse than we are. So my initial take, my thoughts and prayers go out to them. Then that's just this portion of it, because I remember them discussing this, and I'm not late to it. It's just it never was presented in a way where it was time to actually speak on it. I probably should have brought this to the public's attention sooner, but we here now, and that's all that really matters. So
yeah, I also, my heart goes out to Cuba. People underestimate how hard life is for island nations. For example, in our own country, Hawaii is one of the most expensive regions in the United States because basically most everything has to be shipped into the country. It increases the price of goods, it increases the prices of homes, it increases the price of fuel. And for Cuba, that is not directly attached to any particular country. While we do have relations with Cuba, they're not an American territory. So they're even more vulnerable. At least Hawaii has direct connections with the United States. But unfortunately, this is very likely on purpose. The treatment and the embargo, I think that's what it's called, on Cuba is for a purpose. And because they're highly vulnerable, this is going to be incredibly damaging. As we've seen, people are struggling to get energy to run their homes, run their businesses. They're running out of food. The healthcare system is struggling. This is affecting every single facet of life for people in Cuba. And when you're this small and you're this isolated, it is very hard to create connections elsewhere. There isn't much of an incentive for other countries to come in and help because Cuba doesn't can't offer very much. Like if something like this happened to, let's say, Great Britain, because they're an island nation technically, a lot more people would step in to help them because they have more of a stake in what happens in Britain. They have more of a GDP influence and the commodities they produce and stuff like that. So it can be very difficult for an island nation to deal with this type of behavior behest of other countries. So I pray for the people of Cuba, and I think it's absolutely reprehensible what our government is doing to Cuba at this time. And we've had semi-positive relations with Cuba for such a long time. It's quite cruel what we're doing right now.
I never thought that I would say this, but what happened to this country, man? Are we that desensitized? You brought up a point about them not really having much to offer. And the only thing that I can think of is they got families. They got people that they care about that they got to take care of. They got homes. They got just as much to lose as the next person. When did it become so important that the resources mattered more than the actual person? Like I've never been a what can you do for me type of person. Like if I want to support or I want to invest or help out somebody, I'm going to do it out the kindness of my heart just because it's the right thing to do. I don't expect a handout. I don't expect people to, and I understand, like, if you're treating everything like a business, that's probably how you just going to carry it. But I'm always going to choose humanity over business, period. And the part that's always been interesting to me is we all have to survive off of the resources that were naturally given to us on this planet. Everything that comes from the earth is for everybody that inhabit it. But the fact that people are taking stocks and claims and taking rights to things that are God given has always been insane to me. So because they don't want to give you something that they have, everybody has to suffer for it. How does that work? What are you trying to prove? I hate where we are in society today. I hate the fact that we have the type of humans that we do in office, dictating and deciding how we're supposed to treat other people. And I'm always going to be against it. I just look at this and it makes me sick to my stomach. Because if you were in this situation and your loved ones lived in this country or wherever they were in this world, and you had folks basically saying you ain't getting no power, you ain't getting no water, you ain't getting no fresh food, you can't have nothing, you can't have anything because your government, they don't want to take care of us, they don't want to bow down to us and give us more of what we want to take. We just want to take and take and take and take and have more and more and more leverage and more control. And because they don't want to do that, we're going to make you and everybody else suffer because of it. Help me to understand the logic behind any of this. I don't have to know all the bylaws and the rules and the ins and outs of it. All I know is you treat people the way you want to be treated. I think it would be difficult for someone like myself to be a president because I just couldn't see people starve. I couldn't sit back and watch you be homeless or watch you roam the streets with no power. You literally just burning trash and whatever you can get your hands on to keep lights. Not even just considering the fact that, all right, these people are without power. Their food is going bad. They can't take care of medicines. They can't take care of the kids that are sick or on things. You're not considering these people that go out here and rob people and break into homes. And there's so many things that go into this. I'm just not on board with it at all.
And there's a whole lot of deception involved in this whole situation too. Marco Rubio, our Secretary of State, claimed that we had offered Cuba $100 million in humanitarian aid to help them recover from Hurricane Melissa. We can't forget that it was how many months ago? Hurricane Melissa, I think, was in I think it was February? October of last year. Cuba was impacted by the hurricane that completely devastated Jamaica. It was one of the most severe hurricanes we've seen in history. And yeah, they've been trying to claim that we offered them $100 million to help them recover. But the Cuban Foreign Affairs Minister has denied we've ever made such an offer. So from our own government, they're trying to say that we've been trying to help them financially, but they rejected our offers. Meanwhile, the Cuban government is telling us that no such offer has ever been made. And so with the state of what's going on in this country, it's easy to assume who the liar is in this situation. Another aspect to this that to me I think is absolutely ridiculous is part of the reason they're supposedly trying to do this is to force communism out of Cuba. they're trying to seek an indictment against their former president, Raul Castro, who is the brother of Fidel Castro. This man is 94 years old. They are trying to pursue an illegal indictment against a 94-year-old man for something that happened, in the 50s, 60s, something like that, if my history is correct. Like, it really seems like they're, I mean, it truly is that they're manipulating the narrative, and I don't know, I can't say exactly what they do want out of this. To me, I feel like it's just another grab for resources and land, another scapegoat, if you will, to distract with as our economy tanks and as we're dealing with the cover up of hundreds of pedophiles. But it's such a superfluous decision. Like, you're really going to go after somebody who at best has maybe 6 more years of life? Like, it's really ridiculous. And then the other aspect is going after this small little country because they're a communist nation, as if they're having any influence on the United States whatsoever. Obviously, a lot of these individuals grew up in the era of like communist rhetoric and the Cold War and all that stuff. But I think it's quite insane for us to be punishing a small island nation for having communist behaviors, when I'm not going to get too deep into it because I'm not a political expert in that sense, but just from what I've read myself, like communist or like smaller nations do better with communism and socialism because there isn't as many like networks needed and like there aren't as many people. So it makes sense that they would have that type of government there. Also, they are one of the stronger holds of communism in the world anyways. But it just seems so ridiculous to essentially attack an entire nation of civilians just because you aren't a fan of the type of government that they have running their country, as if they have any other impacts on the rest of the world. Like, they aren't a big country. They aren't a powerful country. It's not like we're talking about China or Russia or Europe as a whole, or even like the United States, which have far more push in a global perspective. So it really just seems like they're attacking the little guys. I mean, the same thing that we're seeing with Venezuela, same thing that we're seeing with or trying to do with Iran, same thing that they're trying to do with what's the other country that they were going after in South America? Colombia, I think, something like that. This honestly, to me, these behaviors scream dying. What's the word? Oh my God, I'm totally blanking. Dying republic. This is exactly what the Roman Empire did and the British Empire did as they were starting to collapse. As they started to have internal structural problems, what they did was they started to go out and try and take over smaller, less powerful countries, smaller territories, because they wanted to like increase their wins. And this is really what it feels like to me. We're just starting to go after other countries because our own systems in our own country are wavering. And so they're just trying to grasp onto the remaining bits of power that they possibly can. It's akin to bullying, in my opinion, what they're doing, especially for a country that is so vulnerable to everything going on right now at a time when the whole world is struggling for oil, food shortages, monetary problems, economic problems. They're just going for the little guy at a time when they're most vulnerable. And I think honestly, I think it's a crime with the fact that we are keeping normal civilians, like most of these people who are suffering are not government officials, are not warmongering, like guerrilla, whatever they call them. They have all sorts of fun names for people they don't like. It's not the military, it's civilians, it's families, it's children who are being deprived of medical care, of food, shelter. I mean, Cuba is incredible, it's a tropical environment, so they also are most assuredly dependent on the infrastructure to keep people safe from the climate. It's a crime. It's a crime. That's all I can say.
It's definitely a crime. They should be ashamed of themselves. They going to bed sleeping well at night. This man is up here building a whole ballroom, destroying the White House, destroying the history, having parties and all these different things going on, sending money to these different places that absolutely don't need it. And the whole entire time, you are a puppet. You're being used and manipulated. So maybe you're trying to flex on everybody else. And like you said, I do believe that's the first thing that came to my mind was bullying. It's absolutely bullying. Like just imagine for a second, you wake up, no TV, no oven, no microwave, no gas. You gotta what? Go caveman style, build you a fire. You gotta MacGyver and rig some stuff up in order to cook anything. You can't keep anything cold or cool. So what happens to the food that has long since expired? What happens to the stores, the markets? What are you left to eat? What's consumable? You spend your entire day, if I'm not mistaken, from that clip, they said like it was 7 days or so. And I'm pretty sure it's been longer. You in dark, day in and day out, consistently. All you hear is the echo of crying and arguments and frustration and confusion. People wondering, what did they do? What do I have to do with what's going on between you and them? Why do I have to pay for that? What can you say to my little daughter or my son? Explain to them why they don't have their medication. Explain to them why they can't eat or they can't take a shower. Explain to them your politics. Have a conversation with them about how this works. How if you don't have what we want, then you're no use to us. We don't need you. You're expendable. We live under such a demonic rule that is not even funny. Now, I want people to be real privy to this because it's not just us on this planet that suffer. And it's not just them that's being affected by it. You don't think that what's happening over there is not going to reach us? Oh, it absolutely will. The treacherous behaviors, the attitudes, all the plans, everything that you've done to snuff out the voices of these people. You think that's not going to fall back on us? Even though we didn't have nothing to do with it, by default, we are a part of a system that does seem to agree that what they're doing is the right thing, because we don't do nothing about it. We should have been did something. We should have been cleansed this government. We should have been replaced these old people. We should have been filled them seats with positive, just men and women. We should have been advocated for some of this stuff that needs to be done. But we're not doing it. We're not talking about it. Nobody is really covering it. And I'm just over it. I hate some days just being a part of this nation, man. I look like the foundation that the country was built on. I will always be praying that that comes back. I don't think that's ever going to happen, though. It's been completely distorted. And if you think I'm lying, I want y'all to take a look at this next video. And this one is one of those clips. I'll let you see it for yourself.
Before we do the clip, too, I want to throw out there, currently, as of 2023, 88% of Cuban civilians are considered in extreme poverty as well. So a lot of these people do not have backup resources or methods of getting food from other places. It's not like the rich where they can just ship in fancy food from other countries. Like, most of these people rely on exactly what they have access to, and that's it. So they're already very vulnerable.
I'm glad you pointed that out. Let me play this for y'all. I want you to see it for yourself. Do what you will with these clips in this conversation. It's for educational purposes. It's for just being a decent human being. It's for the conversation piece. Take it to your coworkers, take it to your family, take it to your friends. We need to talk about this.
All used to be homes. Many collapsed into mass graves. Until now, families have been searching for the bodies of their loved ones with their bare hands. Now, a crew has arrived with a huge orange excavator. This machine is digging through a mountain of heavy rubble in the destroyed town of Beit Lahia, a 5-story apartment building destroyed in an Israeli attack. More than 100 extended family members crushed inside. Civil defense crews here in Gaza are digging through the rubbles of what was once the Abu Nasser family home. Behind me, concrete slabs are stacked over each other. Twisted steel hangs in the air, and there is a sour smell. It's the odor of bodies decomposing between the debris. When the machine turns off, the gruesome rescue workers drop to their knees, leaning into the cracks, smelling the air to get closer to the corpses. It's mostly skeletons inside their clothing. There are no DNA tests here. There is only the survivor's eye. Ola Abu Nasser cries as her brother's body is pulled from the rubble. 16-year-old Imad. She identifies him only by his hair and the broken pair of glasses still on his skull. Gaza health officials count more than 73,000 Palestinians killed in Israeli strikes. Thousands more are still believed to be missing in the rubble of their homes. This all used
That's what's going on this big ball of dirt. While we complain, we argue over who's a good guy and who's a bad guy. The real enemy, the real problem sits in the White House. And anybody who's affiliated with them is a part of the problem. Now, I'm not going to say it's everybody, but that right there should have told you. Matter of fact, the fact that he sent troops to bomb on schools with kids should have said everything that you need to know. But see, they don't want to talk about this. They don't want nobody to know about all that. We so distracted by the wrong things when the real enemy is right next door to us, taking our money, taking our life force, breaking our bodies down to molecules, by charging you an arm and a leg to be put in the ground, when they are going over here basically being pirates, hopping off of one little boat onto a bigger boat to take everything that they got, and then coming back over here, controlling the media, telling them this is what you say, this is what you post. We don't talk about any of this other stuff. In another clip, the woman was talking about how just about every news reporter that came from our side of the world that went over there to report, all of them have been killed. If you are a reporter going over there, you're not coming home. Period. But see, that's why I stopped watching NBC, ABC, and all of those major platforms, because I just knew that I wasn't going to get the truth at all. And it's sad. It's sad watching families mourn and scream and cry. They laying in rubble. They walking through nothing but brick and mortar. This is their life. I'm looking at a flat screen TV, air conditioner blowing in my face with lights on and a roof over my head. They are walking in the apocalypse. All of their stuff is gone, everything. And they got loved ones buried under tons and tons of bricks, and I don't know, man. I don't know how any of these people sleep good at night.
Just for some numbers, kind of to back up what you were saying. As of May 2026, almost 74,000 plus Palestinians have been killed in this war. It has also taken the life of 270 journalists and media workers, 120 academics, and over 560 humanitarian aid workers, which includes 391 employers of the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestinian Refugees. And they, in a study by the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, they've verified that the of the verified fatalities, keep in mind that a lot of people will continue to be listed as missing and never found because and unless you like when buildings collapse, the chances of you finding bodies intact are very small. And when you have bombings as well, oftentimes you won't find full bodies. You'll find pieces of bodies. But of the bodies that they've been able to verify, they found that 70% of these people were women and children. So 70% of these people were completely innocent bystanders. And that's an understatement because a majority of those men that were also killed were also innocent bystanders, were just living their lives in their own cities and were killed. And the sad, at least to me, the sad part about this is it's not being framed as what it actually is in the news. This is, just like you said, this is exactly why I do not watch mainstream media anymore. I only watch basically YouTubers that put this information together based on the information available. And I find that they give far more reputable information than any of the main news media sources out there. This is an extermination. This is not a war. They are actively trying to wipe out the Palestinian people because two reasons. One, there is a religious ideology behind this, the sense that a certain group of people believe that they are a higher power than other people, and that this land belongs to them and that they can do whatever they want to take that land back for themselves. Additionally, from the wealth perspective, there's a number of countries that have a stake in this war, in this extermination, because they want to turn the Gaza Strip into a highly profitable resort town. They are not properly they're not representing this situation effectively because a lot of these people are benefiting from what is happening here. They know that once these people have been fully exterminated, they can move in, take over this land, put in their resort hotels, their casinos, their whatever things that they want to install there. And they see these people as worthless. They see them as in the way, and they want the land, and they're going to do what it takes to get there. So the fact that this is not being conveyed that way is an atrocity. This is something that will be remembered in history for a very long time. This is going to be up there with the Holocaust. This is going to be up there with Genghis Khan and all of the things that he did. This is going to be up there with Cambodia and Rwanda and all of these mass murders that took place for the purpose of either getting what they wanted or basically just seeing these people as lesser. I've seen a number of videos that showed like the graphic details of what has been happening, and it's hard for me to believe that people can stand by and watch this happen. As rich as these people are, they have no heart. They have no soul for them to be able to see videos of children with their intestines out, struggling to live, and still try and support it somehow in their own twisted logic. It's disgusting. And it's there's nothing you can even say to express how horrific and traumatizing it is to know this is happening, while on the other side of the globe, we're just living our lives as if nothing is happening. It's such a strange dynamic to know that this is happening in real time. As a kid, learning history, learning about the extermination of the Jewish communities, the extermination of Native American communities, you always grew up thinking that that was the past, that we don't do that anymore. We've learned. But to, as an adult, witness it in real time and know that there are still people out there that support this, that are excited that this is happening because it means they get their land back, or it's an economic opportunity, or for people to reframe this as I've heard people frame it as like, oh, well, they're just what's the word? Not migrating them. They're like transplanting the populations. And I've heard certain politicians, certain news sources try and say that it's not actually as violent as it is, and that they're sending them off somewhere else and it's not as bad as it looks. And I've also heard the flip side of them saying that it's the Palestinians' fault because they're insert whatever, like conspiracy, propaganda, BS. It's disgusting. It's really, really hard to watch and hard to know that this is happening, and there's very, very little that we can do about it. It's just disgusting. You're on mute.
Someone that I follow on Instagram, she shares this on her page so much. I couldn't believe that they allowed them to post this. The things that you are describing. I mean, half their face missing, or they done lost their legs or their arms. Little kids laying on dirt, gasping for whatever air they can get. Uncles and family members just collapsing at the sight of seeing the blood just dried up on this person's face. You can't help but to feel some type of way about seeing that. But here we are, arguing over who Cardi B is sleeping with and all of this goofy crap that really don't matter. All these billionaires in the world. How many of them? How many billionaires do we have? It's like 15 or something like that. I don't want to misquote it. All these billionaires, and you telling me, and hell, we got some trillionaires out here too. But you telling me that y'all can't do nothing? So all of this is just about land and control and positioning. 3,000 billionaires on the planet. Ain't that something?
Bang, 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 bang.
Y'all don't want to help the people. Y'all want to maintain your wealth, maintain your control and your power. You want us all enslaved to you. And that's pretty much the bottom line. If you ain't going to be a part of that, then, in the famous words of DX, I got 2 words for you. absolutely disgusting work. And to me, these are prophetic times. There's really nothing to say. It's an annihilation. Straight up. These people don't care. None of them. I don't know. I don't know. When y'all watch this back, if you do decide, replay it, reshare it. If you got a heart, that is, if you care about what's going on, we need more prayers going up. We need more prayer warriors. I know that's far-fetched. I'm asking a lot. What I'm really proposing, it's not going to be done by us. I think we've gotten to a place where humans are just too greedy and too beaten down and too worn out to want to do anything. And we're just more concerned about self-indulgences. And that's a sad state to be in. Like, if that's really the case, I weep for us, man. I do. I done seen videos of missiles barely hitting people. They just walking, holding cameras. And then next thing you know, building a block or two, not even that far away, just explode right next to them. I done seen videos where the sky just gets lit up with all types of rockets and crap going from one side to the other side. It looked like a scene from Terminator when Skynet basically waged war on humanity, and all the trains just went out into space and they just went different. It looked just like that. And this is happening right now, just like you said. So I mean, I don't know. All I can do is bring this to the attention of the people. Just a reminder that you don't have it as bad as you think you do. And maybe take 5 minutes out of your day to send a prayer up to these people. These, not just Gaza, but Cuba and anywhere else where their lifestyle looks like that. If you got any other thoughts on this before we close out, you got the floor.
I just want to throw in a couple additional things to think about. Because obviously with this whole crisis, the focus is on the bombings, the destruction of the buildings. But people, especially if you're not from a war-torn region, you don't understand just how significant the effect war has on everything. Besides buildings being destroyed and people getting killed in those buildings, they're having humanitarian crises as a result of this in a bunch of different areas as well. UNICEF, which is the United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, they have estimated that about 19,000 children have been orphaned as a result of this, and 24,000 children have lost one or both of their parents due to this war directly. In a report done in February 2024, at that time, 2.2 million people were experiencing food insecurity at an emergency level. The airstrikes have not just destroyed buildings that people live in, but it had also targeted critical food infrastructure, bakeries, mills, food stores. And there's also been a blockade of aid. They've been preventing people from getting access to supplies from people that are trying to help. By March of 2024, more than 500,000 Gazans have starved to death as a result. And according to the IPC scale, which is the Integrated Food Security Phase classification, that basically estimates what the food security level of various regions are, has said that this is the highest number of people facing catastrophic hunger ever recorded, and is expected to surpass the most intense man-made famine since the Second World War. They've also found the IPC and World Food Program reported that more than 1.8 million Palestinians were experiencing extreme critical levels of hunger because 70% of their crop fields have also been destroyed. And we also have seen 62,413 deaths in Gaza from starvation, most of them being young children, and 5,000 deaths from a lack of access to care for chronic diseases. In the 4 months up to mid-December 2024, 19,000 children were being treated for acute malnutrition, which means they were currently dying of starvation. So besides people literally getting blown up in their homes, they are also suffering from a lack of access to everything needed. And that's just food and medication. That's not even factoring in lack of infrastructure for heating, electricity, and water resources as well. Keep in mind that Gaza is located in a drought-prone, desert-like region. And so undoubtedly, water insecurity is also a significant factor in the health of and survival of these communities. So this is a humanitarian crisis on an exceptional level, multifaceted problems, and I hope you don't hear my daughter throwing a fit in the background. But it's dangerous and deadly on so many levels that I don't think this is only the beginning. Unless this stops right now, this is only the beginning. We are going to see way more happening in this region to these people until somebody steps in and stops these harassing countries from doing what they're doing. And I think another thing to keep in mind is, again, this is happening in Gaza, but this is going to start happening in other countries as well. We're already seeing our own country go after Iran. We're already seeing our country go after South American countries. They're talking about Mexico. They're talking about Cuba. They want to do a military invasion of Cuba. They want to do a military invasion of Mexico. They've even toyed with doing that to Canada, which is crazy. But if we keep promoting war in regions that are already highly distressed, this is going to start happening in other areas, and we are potentially going to see millions of deaths in upcoming years if we don't figure out what we're doing and we don't stand up for people that are being harassed. And harassed is a nice term for what, like, this borders on like torture and just war crimes, you name it. This is horrific what we are doing to these countries. So this is something that we can donate all we want. We can send food, we can send clothing. A lot of people are well-meaning and they want to like send this stuff to those individuals. But this is something that we have to demand from our political leaders, that they pull out of this war, that they stop sending money to these countries that are promoting this behavior, that we start sending actual aid and allowing that aid to be received by the people who need it the most. This is going to take a wide, broad systems approach of many different countries stepping in together in the same way that we did during World War II when the Nazis were actively going against Jewish and other communities. So this is not something that we can fix just by donating clothes and donating food, as much as companies like to make us think that that's what can help them. And we also, as individuals, we have to stop supporting the billionaires that are contributing to this problem as well. We need to boycott the same people that are funding this war, that are funding the situation, that are supporting the extermination of these people. So yeah, this is there's no words. Like I'm a wordsmith, I'm a poet. I deal with words all the time, and it's hard for me to find words that are fitting for what is happening. It is an atrocity on a massive scale, and the thought of thousands of people being killed every single day, being bombed, being starved, being denied medical care access. Like, we complain in this country because we have to wait like an hour and a half in an emergency room to get medical care, or it takes 3 months to see a doctor that we want. We have that opportunity. We're able to see the doctor. Our doctor's office isn't going to be bombed without us knowing about it. Like, we have 50 different grocery stores that we can go to. Some people even have the opportunity to have little gardens in their backyards, or go to farmers markets, or go to like bougie little bakeries. Like, we are so lucky in this country, and we have no idea that this is one of the things that, as hard as it is to look, we have to look. We have to pay attention. We have to see what's actually happening, because we cannot live with our head in the sand. We can't be living in this bubble and thinking that we are protected because, well, we don't live there. That's not our country. America's above that. That is the type of mindset that allows a country to fall into ruin in that way. Like Germany, when they went through their Great Depression, people were starving to death in the streets. People were dying because they couldn't afford bread. We are not far off from that. It just seems that way because of all the infrastructure and fancy stuff that we have available to us. But if we piss off enough countries, if we damage our economy enough, we aren't that far off from having to experience a world similar to what the Palestinians are going through today. And we need to consider ourselves extremely lucky that we have gone so long without having to live in a world like that. So to end this, I guess I would say, one, pray for these people. We need to stop supporting this atrocious treatment of human beings. It does not matter what your religion is. It doesn't matter what country you were born in. It doesn't matter where your family came from. These are human beings, and human beings do not deserve to be treated like this. It's disgusting behavior, and we as a whole world should be ashamed of ourselves for letting this go on as long as it's been happening, and for not doing enough to protect all of these people that are being killed. 80%, 70% children and women who were just innocent bystanders. These are not like terrorists as they like to portray in the media. These are everyday civilians. We cannot promote this anymore. Stop watching those news channels that downplay what's happening. Stop supporting the billionaires that are supporting what's happening. Stop watching the celebrities that are in favor of the Gaza transfer. We have to cut off the head of the snake. And the heads of the snake are the rich. They're the rich. It's the politicians. It's these people that have a stake in the extermination of these people, and we cannot do that anymore. It's disgusting. So, yeah, pray for this country, but start doing something more than donating. Start resisting, because this is what is necessary to save these people's lives.
And that being said, blessings to all of you guys, man. Blessings to them people out there in Cuba and Gaza. Y'all have a blessed weekend. Prayers up. Thank y'all for being here. Sydney, thank you for being here. And till next time.
The flow insane, take my spot, so the range. Shoot my shot with perfect aim. 3rd degree, that perfect flame. Ain't no sleep, that's the game. Oh, so southern, that's the slang. When they see me, that's the main. Chasing checks and fly like planes. Big old stick, I bought a cane. Flick my wrist and bought the ring. I'm so boss, we're not the same. Paid the cost and kept the change. Now I'm walking